know I try to be a good man, I always give it my best. But truth be told, someday I wanna go to the wild, wild west.
And now, live from our Smokehouse studio, it's time for Real Estate Jerky. All your real estate questions answered by our provocatively lean expert hosts, Edward Ed Parcaut, MBA veteran and president of Lending for Living, and the refreshingly wise realtor Erin Custer, specializing in residential, commercial, and ag real estate at PMZ Real Estate. Mortgage and real estate wisdom stretching over 50 years. Plenty to chew on, starting now.
Hey, good afternoon. It's great to be here with Erin Custer and our special guest, Tarah Bryant, co-teacher of Financial Peace University, which is a Dave Ramsey's proven program for getting out of debt and building personal wealth. Hello, Erin.
Hey, Ed.
Hello,
How's
Tarah.
it going?
Hi, Ed.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Erin, you doing okay over there?
Yeah.
All right. You look all nervous.
I'm not nervous.
All right. Well, I'm really excited about today's show. The number one hurdle that probably about 75% of my clients have to go over on their way to home ownership is their FICO score, their credit history, everything to do with debt. And today we are absolutely extremely happy to have Tarah here to going over the path of home ownership to help us get there, and which is why this show is here. Real Estate Jerky exists to go over home ownership and talk about how building personal wealth is a large part of your life, correct?
Yes.
All right.
And isn't it exciting that Tara's here to kind of demystify? It's
That's
not a
the
big
word
deal.
I was looking for. I
I
couldn't
know. And I'm here to back you up and give it to you.
find. Thanks.
She's going to do that. And that's what all of our professionals do, right? They come in here and they take the angst out of that portion of the show.
Correct.
So good.
And so we have a lot of ground to cover today. So let's first get out of the way. Erin, why don't you give us a highlight of your week?
So, oh my gosh, this week was so impactful. And, but my favorite thing was I have this lovely friend that I talked about a little bit last week that they called me and said they wanted to sell their house. We thought this was their forever home and they're going up to the mountains. And so to be with their son. But we got this lovely buyer in one day. And so our house was contingent on their house, and their house was contingent on another house, and their house is contingent on another house. We have 5 contingencies and everybody's in contract. And these are all amazing realtors. And so I'm thinking to myself, I've never done 5 contingencies. So I feel like I have to have a big like group meeting or a group hug or something. But that was the most fun this week. All of the properties coming into play, and then all the rest of my stuff coming into play and contracts being accepted. So how about you? What's yours?
Well, first, Tarah, so what we normally do is we even ask the guests now. And it can be last week. It could be, what's the best thing that happened to you over the last 2 weeks? You can pick one thing. And if it's too much, that's okay.
Oh, boy. It's been a busy couple of weeks. We've had spring break. I have 3 little kids. And I'm just looking forward to spring and summer. I've been planting my spring garden and involving the kids in that. And we've just been having a blast.
So you're happy the kids are back to school is what you're saying?
Well, I homeschool.
Oh.
So there is no back to school. Everything is done together in the schoolroom. And we're used to that, though, so I don't feel like they're totally driving me crazy.
Well, homeschool is a little bit easier, too, right, than going to a regular school?
Oh, my gosh. He doesn't know anything, does
Yes,
he?
no, I do. I do.
Well, there are some benefits to homeschooling and benefits to public school, private school. I like being able to do it at home, and so in that respect, it's a lot easier. We don't have to get out the door with, a bunch of little humans, but is challenging. There are things that are easier when you're separating that relationship and you have a teacher to go to. When mom is also a teacher, we find that there's some challenges in that.
Yeah, I can understand. So thank you for that.
No problem.
For myself, you going to ask me, Erin, or should I just tell you?
I did, but you went to Tara. So, Ed, what's your favorite thing this
Well,
week?
I got to have our guests first.
I know. I love hearing what you said.
Yeah. Basically, it's again, I talked about it last week. I had a first-time home buyer who got into a contract, got their house, and then it happened, it's amazing that I look at my pipeline and I have to say 50% of the people are first-time home buyers right now. And it's amazing. You see them all excited for their first home, and it's great to give them that. When you move up, it's not as exciting sometimes for people. It's just
it's
object.
different.
Yeah, I have to move or I'm
It's a
transferring.
bittersweet.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really nice to see that they're in there measuring for their curtains and all that stuff.
And we have one that's closing this week, right?
Yeah, a couple of them.
Yeah. So that's really super good. But Tara, I love what you said about being able to get outside with your kids and plant in the garden, because there's something about being locked in with the rain and all that. And now we have sunny skies.
That cabin fever really starts to set in, especially with such a wet winter.
And I could attest with 3 kids in the house, right?
Oh, man.
Yeah, exactly. I had 5, so I totally understand. So, Erin, you want to talk about we're doing it a little differently today, I guess. We have a few listings and you're going to ask me.
Yeah, let's just talk about 2 because it'll tie into your program. And so I wanted to introduce first Glow Road. And so this is in Riverbank, and it is a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, single-story home. It's going on the market this week for $365,000, which just is a tick over what your limits are for FHA. But you can talk about that and how that goes. And it's been freshly painted inside. It's in beautiful condition. It has landscaping. The owner of this made this home look immaculate, and it has an open floor plan, so the heartbeat of the home where the kitchen is you can see everybody in all corners, so that's really good. The second home that I wanted to talk about is 1467 Timberlake, and that is in Manteca. It's $339,000, and it was built in 1980, but it's been refreshing, and it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,300 square feet, and it has French doors, wood floors, and it's beautifully landscaped in front. The back is there for you to develop the way you would like it to be done, and it's a beautiful home as well. So you could talk about that and how that fits into your program today.
Well, I see that you selected like 2 properties that fit into the average California household income of $71,805, right? So basically, I was asked by our producer to go over and talk about what those payments would be, what the down would be on that. So I'm just going to take the last one you did, that was $365,000, but I'm going to drop it to FHA, which would be $363,000. So basically, when you have your down payment of 3.5%, that's $12,705. So that's $12,000 you have to come in with of your own money. It can be a gift, but then there will still be closing costs, about $6,500 that we have to work with, right? That has to do with, thank you. It has to do with the fact that, escrow, title fees, all that stuff. And so basically, your payment on that, so your total payment is $2,402.89.
Okay.
And I know Tara's going to go, oh, her being that debt person.
Yeah, but we need that also in the room so that people are making good decisions based on good information.
Correct. And so basically, with that, if you make $72,000 a year, you can actually purchase a $363,000 home FHA, and your payment's $2,400 a month, and you could still have a car payment of like say $300, and then other debt of about another $300, and still qualify.
And you would still need to have a really good budget so that you don't.
You have to have a budget, because if you have 3 kids and you only make $72,000 a year, it's going to be really tight on that. Mm-hmm. Okay. Correct?
Yeah, it's Dave Ramsey recommends about 25% of your take-home pay, so that's kind of a shocker to me for a mortgage.
Correct. That's budget and then reality.
Yeah, I know.
2 different. We're in California, so the little things are a little different.
Hey, the math's still got to work.
I understand. I totally get it. All right, and then I think we have, what was that other one? What was the price point of the other one?
The other one was $363,000.
No, that was what we just did.
No, I'm sorry, $339,000.
That's even less.
I know, but that's
Okay.
$339,000, so that's better.
Correct. That would still not get into her number she would like for us.
Oh, okay. Well, how about this?
No, let's just do that one. That'll work.
Okay.
So at that same $339,000, you're looking at a payment of $2,344, and your down payment would be $11,885. So it's getting closer. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a difference between debt to income ratio that we allow and then what people should do, right? So
Right.
we allow up to, with FHA guidelines, up to
40%, right?
almost 50%, actually,
wow.
and actually can go over that. So for every dollar you bring in, 50 cents.
Okay.
I prefer to keep them down to 45 cents. But just sometimes people have income that they can't count for some reason. Like
Okay.
they just started a job, so we can push those numbers.
Right.
Sometimes there's a family member living in the property with them that also contributes, but they're not going to be on the loan for qualifying, so then that is not such a burden.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's reasons why to do it, not to do it. All right. Let's see here. All right, so it's time to pay some bills, so let's go out for a break. You can hear from our advertisers. Then we'll be back to let Tarah Bryant, instructor from Financial Peace University, share great ways to you on the Track Your Home Ownership, how to get there. And if you have any questions, please dial pound 250, say the key phrase Real Estate Jerky, and they'll get you into us. Leave your questions or comment through Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, and we'll talk to you next when we get back. All right, so we have a second left on
I
that.
hope I didn't totally.
Huh?
I hope I didn't totally get you guys. Well, 25%. I'm like,
No.
oh boy, that's a lot.
real. Just
Yeah, no, we want the truth.
Yeah, I know that it doesn't totally match up with what's going on here. So
That's the difference.
That's why you're here.
So most people don't, it's how you should be, but most of people aren't that way.
So what I'll do is I'll talk about how you can best get financially fit to be able to handle that. Paying off the debt and
Right.
budgeting and things like that. But
Well, this is with pretty much hardly any debt, right? So this is a max you could get at $72,000. Doesn't mean they're going to do that, but that's the max they can get. We haven't built any homes since 2006 to keep up with the amount that we need per year for just growth in
Right.
people coming in, that kind of stuff. So we're supposed to be doing $1 million a year just for population growth. We haven't done that.
yeah.
So now we have a ton of people wanting homes, hardly any inventory, which you didn't talk about today. But on average, it's only like 800 homes for sale in Stanislaus County, all of Stanislaus County.
Wow, that's very few.
That's nothing. So when you're asking it, I thought I was going to, no. They're saying we're going to have this kind of a market till 2040 or whatever, which I'm like, I don't know about that. I know we're going to go through a recession here, probably in 2020, 2021, but it will not affect the real estate market because we have lack of homes and lack of places to rent.
When I see recession, but then increasing home prices, I see more foreclosure in my mind.
You're looking at 2006. How old are you?
I'm 29.
Yeah, I'm nothing personal, but you
It-
live that,
Yes.
and that's all
It's
you
that.
know,
Yeah.
right?
Risk averse.
Right. Well, no, that was one of the reasons we started the show. Is that the generation went through that? A lot of them are like, I don't want to buy my own home because what I saw my parents went through, and people lost homes. They're afraid. So that was one of the reasons we have the show, is to explain to them, no, this is still the American dream, and this
Right.
is why you want to do it.
Oh yeah, I'm all for buying a home, and that's where you're going to make most of your. It's quick equity and savings there. It's
Well,
a
you
good
build-
investment.
For most people who do not put money in a 401k or 403b, that's most homeowners don't. They don't have access to it. It's their only place they build personal wealth.
Right.
Like, no, we can.
We don't need it.
How many is it? What is it?
Stanislaus, there's only 769 on the market.
Why don't we bring it in the last part? You can just bring it
Whenever
up.
you
Like,
want
hey,
to.
I just wanted to bring up the numbers. But let's get into what we want to talk to her about.
Yeah, because I'm dying to hear it all. Good girl. I had the $189,000 home, but they wanted to go with the 360. So.
What's funny is I bought a home a month after I turned 20.
Yeah, but only 12 minutes this time.
Oops. I bought a home very young. Still.
Yeah, but you bought it at the right time. See,
Yeah, it
those
was
prices
the very
you'll
bottom.
never see. End of 2008 or beginning of 2008.
My home?
Yeah.
I bought it at the end of 2009.
Okay, so the bottom was actually the end of 2008.
We did a short sale and bought just.
Real
Right.
Estate
I can bring it on there.
back on Power Talk 1360.
I don't like my mic here. It blocks my my reading.
Ready?
Yeah.
You're doing good.
Real Estate Jerky is back on Power Talk 1360. Chew on that.
We're back. Tarah, let's get into it. I know you're excited about helping people achieve their financial dreams, as we are. So, let's talk a little bit about your background. So, how'd you get into this?
Well, my husband and I, we started our marriage not really with any focus. And we struggled for about a year and a half. And then we realized that we really needed to get control over our finances. And we started listening to Dave Ramsey. We read The Total Money Makeover and started those baby steps. The baby steps are step one, saving $1,000 in your starter emergency fund. Step two is paying off your debt using the debt snowball. So you're going to order your debts from smallest to largest, and as you pay one off, you're going to put that payment towards the next, and then your snowball gets bigger and bigger. Step three is putting 3 to 6 months expenses in savings. Step four is investing 15% of your household income into Roth IRAs and pre-tax retirement plans. And then, so step 4, 5, and 6 are going to be done together. So once you get everything in order, then you're going to start doing these investings and savings at the same time. You're going to save for your children's college education using tax favored plans, and then pay off the house early. And final step is to build wealth and give. So we started doing all that, and it's
Now,
really
did you have a
been-
house at the time?
We did. We owned a home here in Modesto. We had lived in Michigan for about 8 months, and it was on that road trip back that my husband listened to Total Money Makeover on audiobook and said, hey, let's do this. And I was familiar with Dave Ramsey, so I said, great, let's get started right away. So we were both on the same page, and that makes a huge difference for a lot of couples, is being on the same page.
I think that's one of the biggest things is a lot of people their couples are not on the same page when it comes to money and what they need to do and how they need to budget.
Yeah, that's going to be a big holdback. That financial intimacy in a marriage is really important to couples, and it's going to either help you excel, or a lack of communication can really hinder not just your financial health, but your marital health.
Correct. Yeah.
Sometimes people are lazy. They'll say, "Oh, you're good with money, so you handle it," and then you're handling all of the responsibility. And don't you think that they should be talking about it every week, every time a bill comes in, every time any money goes out? Don't you think?
Exactly. So there's two types. So there's going to be the nerd and the free spirit. The nerd's going to be the person that loves to build a budget and have all the rules, and the free spirit says, "No, that's going to hold me back. I do whatever I want." And then there's also the saver and the spender. So there's ways to find out which of those you are, and it's not necessarily the nerd is the saver. It's kind of a mix. But when you can articulate your personality type and your tendencies, that helps you do better. And
Well, you know what? It's so neat because this week we had a big change in our marriage. Like we always did that. I just took care of everything, and he just said, "I want to go on vacation," or "I want to go there." And he's not a spender. And so it was really neat because this week we decided to change our whole world, and we sat down and we talk about everything now. And I mean, we've been married 30 years. He goes, "I want to help you. I don't know why I let you, why I put this on you all this time." And so it was really a wonderful week for us.
yeah, it can
Yeah.
lead to a lot of guilt and shame when you're doing it on your own and you feel like things aren't going well, and then the other person just has this lost feeling. So not being on the same page can really lead to all kinds of confusion, and it's a heavy burden for the person that's working on the finances, and the person that's not doing it might not understand the weight of that, and it's really good to share that burden together. So
I know. I don't know why he wants to all of a
Yeah.
sudden. It's so great.
sit down at the table once a month at the beginning of the month before it begins and do your budget talk, and one person makes the budget, the other person just sits there briefly and reviews it, and you have to give at least one input, one change, one thing, and that'll help the free spirit kind of get involved with the money making.
So when you
or
have
the money management, excuse me.
So when you have a married couple, I mean, this is so important. What's the first thing and the second thing and the third thing just to get started? There's so many people out there that aren't started. So
Well, to get started, you want to know the situation of your finances. You want to take a look, sit down and figure out how much debt you have, how much money you're actually bringing in, where the money's going. So track your expenses, and at the same time, start building a budget. A budget's going to be a mess for about the first 90 days, but keep at it, and that's just the most important thing. Keep at it, and it'll get better as you stay focused and watch those expenses. The more you develop that discipline and recognition of where your money's going, you're going to start to get control over that.
and then you think at that point you would sit down and say, okay, now we want to try and buy a house. Where do we start? Or is that what you do? You have your talk, you know where you are, then you have your budget, then you can start looking at purchasing, right?
Right. It depends on your finances and what it all looks like. We prefer that people have at least 10% to put down, conventional, and 20% is even better, but the best plan's 100% down. It's hard to do here in California because the prices are high. 100% down plan, all foreclosures happen to homes with mortgages. So if you can really be diligent and be a really good saver, gazelle intense, then you can save more and you'll have more security when you're buying a home, and you'll feel more confident. And then you can do things on your house.
Yeah, I just had a client, their down payment is what it costs to buy a home in Tennessee, cash.
Oh my goodness, how wonderful that would
Isn't
be.
that crazy? But they
But
work
you
in
have
here.
to live in Tennessee. That's the only
Yeah, all those
There's nothing wrong
bugs.
with that.
problem. Humidity or any of that stuff there is, mosquitoes. So I want to go back to your background. So when people are listening to you, they know
Okay.
how you know this and everything. So I was looking around here, and you've been teaching. So I'm going to go way back. So you graduated from Bayer High School, right?
Yes.
And then you went to Stanislaus?
Yep, I went to Stan State and studied pre-nursing, and I was working at Memorial Hospital as a scribe in the ER at the same time. And then, I got married in the middle of that, and we were expecting our first baby, so we moved to Michigan. And I didn't finish school, but I knew that I wanted to stay home with my children, so it ended up working out fine for me.
All right, and then you've been teaching. All right, so you're teaching at the Financial Peace University program, right? And you've been doing that for how long?
So I've been teaching FPU as a Dave Ramsey product for, we did 2 classes. They're 9-week classes, and we've offered them through Big Valley Grace. But there are other places you can look online and find one in your area. They're not always associated with the church.
Right. Well, I know from listening to him how he created that, because he would sit down with people, go over their budget, tell them what to do, and then a month later they're filing bankruptcy. Right. I'm just saying that's how it started. You know, he would go through, and then not all of them would, but he was like, man, this isn't working. And so basically he said that's when they put a program together and started this, and it's been going on, I think, 20 years now or something like that.
Yeah, it's been going on for quite a while. He started out as a real estate, he was buying and selling real estate, but the debt was really high, and he had his loans called. And then all of a sudden, he and his wife found themselves going through bankruptcy and not being able to pay the bills. And that's when he started looking at biblical principles to apply and what does God say about money. And we feel that these principles can be applied to anyone, but they are Bible-based principles. And it's out of that bankruptcy that he's developed this wisdom on finances.
Right. Because nobody wants to go through bankruptcy. Did you have something to ask, Erin?
Well, Tarah, I was reading your background, and it says you've been using this program for 7 years.
Yes, ma'am.
So, but it seems that the program itself is fairly short. How long is it?
Well, it depends on. It's really a lifelong program, but
To take the class, I heard it's like a couple of weeks or
9 weeks to take the class,
Mm-hmm.
and in that 9 weeks you learn those principles that you can apply throughout your life.
And then if you take it together with your spouse, then it is even better, right?
Oh yes, it's much better when you take it with your spouse. That way you can get on the same page.
Good.
Otherwise, you're gung-ho about something new and exciting and very different, and your spouse is just kind of being dragged behind. What's happening to us? Why can't we go out to eat? Or are we ever going to go out to eat again? Can we travel?
Yeah, you're right, huh?
Yeah.
So.
Is that how your husband was?
No, he's wonderful. He's always been wonderful. It's just that when we're both doing it, it's so much simpler than if I just have to do it myself.
Oh, it's so exciting.
Yeah, and it takes
lift
the
burden.
times. We can have dinner, we can be together, and we're getting 2 things done at once, and it's just nicer, and we're not separated. We're together.
Right.
So I want to go through the full process of what this is, what it looks like. So we have about 2.5 minutes left before the break. So why don't we just go through, what's the first step, and then break that down.
Okay, very good. So the first step is saving $1,000 in a starter emergency fund. And if you have more money saved, and you have debt, you're going to go down to the $1,000. That way you have that drive to really move forward in the next step. So $1,000 will cover most of those those emergencies that come up. Sometimes you have a hard time discerning, is this an emergency or not? And you have to really start thinking, is this a true emergency or is this a manufactured emergency? Is it an I want that I'm calling a need?
So that's the first step.
That's the first step.
And one of the things most people don't realize is when we had the government shut down in January, they were saying like 95% of the people don't have the money for their next paycheck.
Yes, absolutely. That was really,
so that's why it's
really
so
hard
important.
To see. Yeah.
So why don't you go to step
next?
Okay,
step 2. So pay off your debt using the debt snowball. You're going to list all of your debts, including student loans. If you have, I guess you're getting ready for a first mortgage, so you're not going to have any other mortgages, I'd hope. You're going to list all your debts: student loan debt, credit card debt, auto debt, medical debt, everything, smallest to largest. You're not going to do it based on your interest, on the interest rate. It's smallest to largest. That way you have that drive and push to move on to the next. You're excited that you did something when you pay off that first one, and you're ready to go on to the next, and you see it starting to work. The next step after you paid off all your debt.
So let's go back. Let's
Okay.
break down the debt.
Okay.
'Cause we'll do it for about 30 seconds, and then we'll go out to break.
Okay.
So basically, most people who start this, do they own a home, would you say? Your program that you've seen, that you've been
Yes,
through.
a lot of people own a home.
Really?
Yeah, not everyone, and some people own a home or more than one, and then it's a matter of what am I going to do in this situation. So there's all kinds of different backgrounds you'll see, home ownership or renting or more than one property. It's very diverse.
All right, so let's hold it there. I'll go to break, and when we come back, we'll pick it up.
I have tons of questions.
Don't you always? As a veteran myself, and I think it's important to support our military family members, we always honor a veteran business owner during the show. If you know a vet that could use some free advertising, please message us their name and their number to pound 250, and you can use the key phrase Real Estate Jerky. That'll get it there. I want to give a shout out again to Mike Coelho of Airman Heating and Cooling, serving Stanislaus County and San Joaquin County. And that number is 888-841-0702. That's 888-841-0702, and we'll be right back. Okay, went over 15 seconds.
Okay, sorry, it's hard to know when to stop and when to move forward. Or
Yeah, I know, I
where
went
to
over
pause.
15 seconds.
No, but it's okay because Ed will do that. So all you have to do is just focus
Just
on
go, I'll cut you off.
Yeah, he'll interrupt you.
Gently. I'll go. So the thing is, like, don't worry about the time.
Okay.
You just talk. Because this next segment, we got 12 minutes, and then we have 10 minutes afterward.
And he's
So if you
got-
go to 13 minutes, right, because you're using it, not a big deal. That means we have 9 minutes at the end. It's not a big deal.
It's gonna balance.
I was just letting you know when we're talking how much time we have. Just in case you want to do a long thing, you go, let me do it afterwards.
Yeah, okay.
Those guys were all making jokes. What's an emergency? Oh, when the new iPhone comes out, that's an emergency. Hey, that's who
Well,
we're
that's what
talking
I'm
to.
talking
That's who we're talking to, really.
I'm
And we're talking
thinking-
to a whole bunch of listeners who that's what their kids do and come to them when they have a real
I'm
emergency.
thinking that AC doesn't work and it's July 1st or something.
Okay, but that's from
Yeah,
a homeowner
okay.
perspective.
Okay.
Let's talk about,
We're
we don't
talking
have a
about
home
home.
yet.
Okay,
So-
so if the car breaks down and you gotta get to work. I'd say that's an
Uber.
emergency.
Oh my God.
Oh, I've never done one
You're
of
not
those.
using the credit cards,
Okay,
remember?
I'm gonna take some pictures.
Cash. I can do it for $15.
And
You can
look
use a
this
debit
way. Most of the people these guys talk to, for the most part, 50%, somebody's gifting them their down payment, or they're figuring out a way to get it from someone else who exercises principles. So if,
I just we're in California and people are spoiled here.
Well,
Exactly.
not only that, the purchase prices are extremely expensive
ridiculous,
here.
and it feels like you can't ever save up 20 or 30,000.
I think it's because people don't feel money, so when you do everything, it's with a card or it's on a payment. So you're not prepared for lump
Aaron,
sums.
you're bringing us in.
Okay, so those are the kinds of things.
And you got a
And what's an
whole thing
emergency?
there.
That would be, Erin will ask you. She's gonna rip this right through right now.
So basically,
She's
when we
got all
come
the
back,
questions.
just say, a lot of people on the producer room or whatever was making fun about what's a real emergency.
All right, we're gonna do 12 minutes on this one too.
I'll point at Aaron when we live. Oh, so the mics are always dead until I'll point at her and then it'll be live. Okay.
Don't worry, just I'll get you. Okay.
Sorry, I forgot. And you're not going to hurt anybody's feelings. No, you're not. Because you're going to hurt somebody's feelings. There's nothing you can do about it. Won't hurt everybody.
No, but if you make a mistake, we can redo it just like we do for Ed. He didn't say.
And you need to love the mic a little bit more. It's just, if you're just turn this way if you're going to talk on that side. Perfect.
It's hard, those ups and downs.
Yeah, well, if you do this, we have some people do this, then we have to tell them not to do that, so.
Long-lasting Real Estate Jerky is back on Power Talk 1360 KFIV.
Hi, we're back talking to Tarah Bryant, a vibrant young wife and mother who also happens to be one of the financial gurus, Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University teacher here locally. And Tarah, how old are your girls?
My girls are 7, 5, and 2.
I bet you know your grocery bill to the penny.
Yeah, I'm usually within about $30 on. I go grocery shopping every other week, and so then that last little bit's a wiggle room. But
Oh my gosh.
I don't really go over ever anymore.
I so want to just be a coupon person. I do. I want a whole book.
I don't.
You know, on our last segment, we were talking about what's an emergency. And you know, when you were talking about that, I also was thinking that, but they were screaming in the sound booth saying that's when they want a new iPhone. So talk to us a little bit more about what you consider a real emergency.
I consider a real emergency to be when your car breaks down and you need to get to work, or when you have a medical bill, medical need come up, an ER visit. Let's see, what else? If you are renting and you have some of that burden on you, a home repair. There's
Okay, so
Or even you got laid off from work for 2 weeks.
Yes, you got laid off from work. And so if you don't have any money saved, you're going to be really hurting. But having a little bit of cushion goes a long ways in those instances.
so then do you stop step 2 and go back and replenish number 1?
Yes,
Which
you
is-
absolutely do.
Okay. And then on step 2, when you are paying off those debts, and you said don't go with interest rate, right? You said just go with the lowest to the highest. When you're doing that and you pay off one, do you take that amount of money that you're paying off that one with and add it to the second one, or do you just, what do you do? Do you put that in your savings or what?
You do. You add from the previous step or from the first step. You're going to take that and snowball it in to the next one. And so your snowball gets bigger and bigger, and you have a bigger shovel to work with. You're going to start paying things off faster and faster as you have more capital freed up to work with.
So let me understand. So you have one debt and you pay it off. You add that payment to the next payment that you're making. Now you're making almost a double payment or whatever those two were.
Yes.
Then when that's paid off, now you have 3 payments that you're paying to the next debt, right?
Yes, so you're going to continue paying minimum payments on the other bills
Okay.
while you're doing this. But so your first one's $150, your next one's $225. You pay off the $150 one. Now you're going to add the $150 to the $225. You're now going to have $375 to go, to work at.
Okay, so now you get that all done and everything's paid off. And now what's step 3 again?
Step 3 is putting 3 to 6 months expenses and savings. This is a fully funded emergency fund. And 3 to 6 months, if you have a really stable salary job, you might tend towards 3 months. If you have a variable or you're like you're the sole provider for a family, you're going to want to err more towards 6 months. So 6 months of your expenses. So once you figure out a budget, you'll be able to calculate how much that is.
I mean, that just frees people up. It lets them be free, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, we've really had to use ours at the start of this year. We've had generally very healthy kids, but we've had some significant medical issues come up this year, and we decided we had just finished our step 3, our 3 to 6 months emergency fund, and we decided to also make a medical emergency fund, not knowing that this was going to come up. Well, we've had to dig into both the emergency fund and the medical emergency fund, and we're just so thankful that it's there, that we can focus on meeting the needs as parents for our kids instead of worrying about the finances.
When I was reading in your background, I was interested. What's the most common hurdle you see when people have to overcome when it comes to putting this program together?
Absolutely behavior. It's 80% behavior, 20% head knowledge. So getting control of yourself and your spending and your habits is really what takes the most effort. But once you start to realize what you're doing and what's going to have to be adjusted, so you're spending $1,000 on food or eating out altogether, and you really don't have that money, you're digging further and further in a hole because of the habits. You have to. Unfortunately, you got to stop eating out, or you got to change what you're buying in your grocery budget. So there's changes that had to be made. It's not all easy. It's not a quick fix. It's a long-term change.
Have you ever seen anybody break into tears when they have to cut up their credit cards?
No, in fact, I had one person in my last class that cut up many credit cards. I think it was like 1.5 dozen credit cards, and then we had other people cut up credit cards. I heard from another coordinator that someone went to cut an Amazon Prime card in the shredder, and apparently those are metal, so you have to find a different way to cut those up.
Now, I only want to preference to what you're doing. That's great, but are they closing these accounts or are they leaving them open?
So you should pay off the balance and you should close the account.
But do you understand that when they close the account that they lose all credit from that card?
Yes, I do. So one thing that is recommended to people that follow this program or people that don't use debt is Churchill Mortgage offers manual underwriting. So look for a lender that offers manual underwriting. There aren't as many people that offer it, and it's a little bit more work to go through. But there is that option for people that don't have debt. I don't have a credit score, and we were able to buy our home, but I wasn't used on the mortgage.
Right, and that's so for if you're going to be debt conscious, that's great. But I feel you should keep 3 credit cards. Don't care if you use a little bit, you got to put one thing on it, pay it off. Then you have a credit score and you're open to more things that you can do. That's just my take on it, because I've seen so many people who they have a 740 FICO score, they cut up all their credit cards and now they don't have one. You follow me?
Yeah,
So,
I understand.
Yeah, so it's just...
Well, you can't get an appraisal. You have to have a credit card.
Well, you got to
to
have a debit card. A lot of people use debit
You
cards.
can use debit.
Now, and the manual underwriting, a lot of people still do manual underwriting.
Okay.
Not just that one.
I haven't had to go through manual underwriting,
Well,
so I will say that it's recommended as an option, but I didn't go through that myself.
Because someone had a FICO score.
My husband, we use him. He's the primary. Right. He's an income earner for our home, and when you pay utilities and things like that, that contributes to credit score. So we haven't had a reason to use debt, so I didn't have a score.
Right. What they have to do is they take that information and they create a credit score for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
Which
your
is
history.
fine, but it's so much easier if you just have 3 credit. You keep. So if you have 15 credit cards, keep 5. Keep 3 of them. And then I know he goes, I can see it in your throat. Oh my God, this is killing me. He's telling them to keep a credit card. I'm just looking at it from the financial aspect of it. I didn't say to use them, but you have them. And so it keeps your score and it gives you more options. I know you guys,
Right.
I know your background from who I've talked to, and you guys pay cash for cars. And so in a perfect world, this is great, but it doesn't always work for everybody. So I like I like what you're saying, but I know also there's some practical things that some people just can't do. But
Okay.
I mean, paying off the debt for me is wonderful and what I think everybody should do, but not cutting up every single one of their credit cards.
Yeah, and it's a personal belief. Not everyone's going to agree on everything.
Right.
We feel that the FICO score is I love debt score, so it's going to help you borrow more. It just kind of it's different opinions, and I think they can all be
But Tarah, you know
present
what?
in the same place.
There's nothing wrong with paying cash for your house. In fact, anybody that you have that wants to pay cash for their house, you call me. I'll get them out there and I'll get them their house.
Man, I'd love to pay off my house and have no mortgage. I mean, how freeing would that be?
What step is that? 6, right?
That's step 6. Pay off your house early.
Yay. What's the largest amount of debt you've seen paid off within your classes?
Ooh, I don't have all those numbers, but I do know one couple paid off $6,000 in debt over the 9-week course. I think they
In 9 weeks?
Yeah. So what a lot of people do so that you can move the needle quickly is sell something. The things that we recommend are do more work, get a night job delivering pizzas or whatever it is, or so either earn more or sell something. Make the kids feel like they're next. You've sold so much stuff that Fido and Chloe are next.
Well, and so what's interesting about that is she said work harder. Work more. Yay. That's a great concept.
Yeah.
Anybody can do that. What's the most amount of money you've seen saved?
Ooh. I don't know that number.
Okay, when it gets to house size, though, call me.
Okay.
Or 20%.
We're new to the class, so we don't keep these numbers for ourselves, but we do turn them back in as coordinators so that the Ramsey Solutions FPU has numbers to use to show the effectiveness of the program. So I don't have all those numbers in my head. I'm sorry, Erin.
That's okay. Do you have any funny stories to share with us on your program?
Oh my goodness. I had shared about personal finance with a local MOPS group. And so now I have all of my peers, my friends coming to me, telling me about their progress, about how they started budgeting and for groceries, and they feel like they're football coaches, kind of planning the plays, or people that are paying off debt, people that are saving money, and they're celebrating. And I really like seeing that progress. People having hope.
Well, you've empowered them to take control over their life when they don't have to just go with the flow, right?
Yeah, they're seeing changes and people that are totally changing the way that they live. It's really encouraging.
Oh, good. That's wonderful. I'm seeing arms failing. Do we have time?
Yeah, we still have about
Okay,
a minute
good.
and something.
I have more questions. What is your family's number one cheat, or do you have one?
Our cheat, huh?
Like where, you kind of off program and it's not a big deal, but
Well, I think food's the one that we struggle with the most. I've got the groceries mostly down, and I try and leave a little bit of room for going back for milk or little things. But eating out is one thing that I think is hard for a lot of families and individuals to really nail down and get control of. You know, when you move quickly and you do a lot of stuff, it's just the convenience of it.
Yeah.
Or, you know, your family invites you out for a birthday dinner, and then all of a sudden you're at a sit-down restaurant with your family of 5 and just anticipating the chaos that's about to ensue. So we've really learned to say no, or, you know, we have a miscellaneous cash envelope for things that come up, and that helps. I try not to use it for food because it will just get eaten up, literally. But we have a little bit of wiggle room.
oh, okay.
Erin, I think you got to be taking us out here.
Okay. Shoot, where's my page? Okay. Thank you for listening to Real Estate Jerky, where tough meets tender in the real estate industry. We'll be right back to get some of Tarah's bill-busting strategies, and we're so excited to have you here, Tarah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Erin.
It's so funny because I was going to have time to go, yeah, so I just kept going, and then it's time to go out.
You're supposed to take 30 seconds to go out there.
See, it's hard. But you're in, and it's all you from here on. Yeah.
Thanks.
Aren't you having a great time? Tarah, this is so exciting. I love your one-two crate.
No.
I've heard it
sorry.
before, but I haven't
totally
heard it.
believe in paying off debt. I just don't. I look at it differently. When you have to go on manual underwrite, it limits where you can go, and it limits what you get. And what I mean by
Your
that,
interest rate?
Yes, all that stuff. They have control, and I don't like people having control over what you have
I
to
understand.
offer.
There's certainly complexities, and especially in certain fields and backgrounds where there are reservations or things that don't line up. So I
totally get everything you say. I just say
But I love
free
her whole
cards.
program.
Yeah.
I
Because
just
what
3
if,
and then
until
10%
you
down.
have that finance, I know everybody's like, okay, well, I'm putting away all this money. What if something happened?
That's why we like to develop the savings.
I understand.
Because it takes, if you have an emergency that you put on a credit card, it turns an emergency into a crisis, right? So now you've paid for your emergency on debt, and you have interest and all this other stuff going on. But
What if you just don't have the money in your account either?
yeah, I know. So you don't. That's why we don't cut cards before saving some
Before
money.
they get the 6 months saved.
So $1,000, then the debt, and then the 3 to 6 months.
Right.
Because $1,000 will cover most real emergencies.
So you don't cut your cards till after step 3.
No, cut your cards in step 2
Oh,
as you pay them off.
okay. You can say whatever you
We
want.
have a lot of family that is aware, and they choose not just keeping cards, they choose to use them religiously. So it's personal. I can only recommend it. I can't make changes for people.
But you're right. If you don't owe anybody money, nobody can take anything from you.
All right, I'm bringing us in. And don't take it personally. I didn't mean that. I'm not attacking
It's just that
your
a lot of people
belief.
don't have the discipline. That's
I understand.
that's
But you
what I
can't
mean.
save everybody.
No, I know.
So you can try. It's just like our industry. We can't save everybody. We can't get everybody in a home.
Right.
Not everybody needs to own a home. But for me, I feel better if you don't get rid of a FICO score, unless in your situation,
I
your
really
husband works
understand.
and he's got a FICO score, so you can get around it. But if you have 2 people who work and they both get rid of their FICO score, and then now they can't get what they want, now they got to rebuild it. And yeah, you can do manual underwriting, but it's not going to give you a 720 FICO score. You know?
I understand. I really do, and I don't take it personally. I'm really used to it, like a lot. There's all kinds of reservations and things. It doesn't bother me.
Well, no, I'm good with everything except cutting a
The
ball.
FICO score, yeah.
Because especially if it's a young person, because you build your credit over time. So if you do get a house, you're right. I mean, over the next 15 years, the house is going to give you a FICO score, and it's going to be more you pay on it. It's just like
When you're coming in as a first-time homebuyer, it's a different story, right?
But I mean, I understand. I mean, I know some people pay cash for everything. They don't have this. My grandfather was that way, and he's old Portuguese, and he would get pissed off when the bank wouldn't loan him money. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, this is the reason.
Yeah,
They want to make sure that you're frugal. You have all this money, and you have all this, but you don't show them that you can pay on time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right,
So,
I understand.
all right, I'm sorry. I got off my soapbox.
No, it's okay.
Talk 1360. Chew on that.
This is Ed Parcaut, mortgage advisor at Lending for Living with Erin Custer, Realtor at PMZ. Glad to be back for our final segment of the show. Start where you left. Start where you are, a spending plan that gets you home with Tarah Bryant, teacher of the Financial Peace University. So let's wrap all this up. What do you have to go over right now, Erin? What do you want to bring back up?
Stats real fast of what's happening in the market?
And then we'll jump right back into Tarah.
All right. So in Stanislaus County, there's 769 residential properties on the market today. There's 556 in pending in escrow, and there's only 423 that have closed. But based on those figures, there's less than 2 months worth of inventory in Stanislaus County.
Right, you say only, but that's still 50%, over 50%.
I know, but remember when we were starting this, we were at like 1,500 and closing
1,200, and
yeah. In San Joaquin, there's 1,081 residential properties on the market. 733 are in escrow, and then 537 have closed. So we still have less than 2 months in San Joaquin too. So that's an interesting telltale about what's happening with the market right now. I think a little sunshine and everybody's out there rocking around.
Well, and it's going to get crazy because the spring and summer are supposed to be crazy when it comes to home buying right now because interest rates as low as they are.
And weren't you even telling me that you had some of your realtors that have said they've got 15 offers on one home and stuff? It's crazy.
And then they sent 6 counter offers and all that stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. But that's how it's going to, if it's, again, as we talked about, if it's at a price point where FHA is allowed on it in our area, that's going to be a seller's market. And if you're above that, you're in a buyer's market. So that's the difference.
Well, in relating to Tarah, I just had a property on the market over 700 and 3 offers, 1 all cash, and we took that. Close in 10 days. Have a nice day.
You're certain it's going to close?
We are. We saw the dough. Anyway.
She's so negative, I tell you.
Me?
No, it's Tarah.
No, I love her. No. I love her. I think she's just telling the truth, and it's a way for people to at least, even if they went through the first couple steps, they could get their 10% down, or
Correct,
they could get their 20% down.
But that's not the purpose of what she's. Yeah, but that's not the. My big thing about having this budget on here and to talk about people to get ready for home ownership if they don't own a home, get there, because I've seen it where I have a lot of people who I run their credit and they have, it's. The girlfriend has bought a car for the boyfriend. She's got a $300 amount monthly on her car, and he's got a $600 a month on a car, and now they can't qualify for anything. You know what I mean? Right. They have other credit card debt. So it's all about getting people ready and able to move forward and make sure that they can and have their budget in place so that when they do buy a house, they don't go through foreclosure. They don't go through bankruptcy and all that stuff. And then have to, if they go through bankruptcy, then they have to wait a couple of years before they can go FHA and then VA and all that stuff.
But you know what, Ed? If I was you, I was saying, take Tarah's 1 through 3 and then come see me because they'll have the 3 to 6 months in the bank. So that's their down payment, no debt, and they'll have their security deposit back there.
I should say that the 3 to 6 months is an emergency fund. So there's a 3B.
Stealing from things.
I know, that little thief. We talk about there being a 3B. So after you have your savings and you can handle an emergency, then's a good time to start. That's a good time to start saving for a down payment on a home, and you can just save, and maybe you get to the point where you want to do the 100% down.
Under 3, huh?
Yeah.
So that 3 to 6 months is not just a general savings. That's an emergency fund for real emergencies that come up. You want to save for your down payment separately.
So 1 to 3B.
And that way, when you buy your home and you have a massive plumbing leak, you can cover that separately. Yeah,
that's our girl.
Yeah, so that we don't have. I mean, it's nice that when you get into a home, you don't have a bunch of debt. That also makes it harder for you to afford that home.
Yeah, you find yourself house poor otherwise.
Plus, people are already building good habits because this is all about changing your lifestyle, building good habits, and being ready to be able to afford that home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And then pay it off early.
That's number 6. And then buy another home, and then we go see Ed. And
buy your retirement home and or your second home. She's getting all, no. more debt, not debt.
It's not so you can start over.
No one's going to start over. Oh. This is not 2006 again.
No, I meant start over with a new mortgage.
Yeah, I understand. Okay. But leverage is, I understand where you come from and where I come from. Leverage is very important because the more you make on a house when you purchase it, the higher the leverage you do to it. And I understand that doesn't mean I didn't say to pay it off. I'm just saying, put your money away and put your money to work somewhere else for yourself too. Because sometimes people pay off their house and then they never put any money in retirement. They haven't been through your class. Yeah. I'm just saying in general.
That would be a bummer.
Right, and so they have a house, but they have no money for retirement. So then they have to do reverse mortgage.
Well, you want to be doing the investing. Step 4 and saving for children's college, if that's still part of your life, and paying off the house. You want to be working on all those things, principal towards the house and saving for retirement. You want to do all those things simultaneously so that you have that long-term vision, but you're also taking care of right now. And once you free up that income that was going to a mortgage, you can do all kinds of awesome things. You can put more in your retirement, and you really have the opportunity to
So
change
what
that
I'm hearing
family tree.
what I'm hearing is your plan is all about having people not to worry about money again. The primary goals are to get them out of debt, build wealth, and leave money stress behind.
Yes, absolutely.
Do we want to talk about some of the history of the financial peace?
You sure? Go ahead. You have it in your hand.
Is that okay? Well, since 1994, more than 5 million people have participated in the Financial Peace University, and more than 2 million users of Every Dollar online budgeting software. More than 4 million high school students in more than 1,600 educational institutions in all 50 states participate in Foundation's high school program, started in 1992 when Dave Ramsey self-published Financial Peace. Also began the Dave Ramsey radio show in 1992, 27 years on the air. And 1994, Dave Ramsey began teaching Financial Peace University, which Tarah also teaches. And in 1997, Financial Peace becomes a bestseller. So that's pretty good stats.
Yes, very good.
And so we're happy that you're
How
here sharing those with
can,
us.
if somebody wants to get involved with this university and they want to go through the classes, how do they get involved? How do they find it? That kind of stuff.
You can look it up online and find out what groups are in your area. My husband and I offer a class. We do it twice a year. So we start one in September and then one in January. So we're currently in our FPU summertime right now, but there are classes going all the time.
What's a FPU summer period? Does that mean you don't do anything?
That means it's our break.
Okay.
Our
Just trying to be
time
clear
off.
there. All
Yep.
right.
Can I give you some stats on credit scores in the
Yes.
United States?
First, one last thing before
Sure.
I forget. Top 3 reasons why listeners need to start a spending plan.
Let
Go
me
on.
think about that.
All
for
right,
just
go
a
ahead,
moment.
Erin.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, the average credit scores in the United States by age are 18 to 24, 633, 25 to 34, 622, 35 to 44, 630, 45 to 54, 643, and 55 and above, 690. And what's your lowest credit score that you can even get bought right now?
580,
And what do you hope for as a low?
720,
No, as
or
a
higher.
low, like for FHA, what do you hope for?
620 max.
Okay. And then the average amount of credit card debt in the U.S. by age is 18 to 24, 22,000, 25 to 34, 42,000, 35 to 44, 39,000, and 55 and above, 36,000. It was interesting what you said about they saved 6,000 in 9 weeks, right?
Yeah, so one couple sold a vehicle or a boat or something like that. But a lot of that debt that you're describing in those demographics is student loan debt. It's really paralyzing a whole group of people. And you have people in the not just the 18 to 24 range, but 25, 34 still paying off debt because they didn't go to school with a focus, or they didn't work while they're going to school. They went to a school that was out of state, too expensive, blah, blah, blah. It kind of goes on. But to get back to your question, Ed, the top 3 reasons why you need a spending plan or a budget. I think that it's about your relationships. It's about your marriage and your kids so that you can equip your children, if you have children, to be financially independent adults. That's something that I think a lot of people struggle with now, to change your family tree so that you're not going through that struggle all the time. You can give things to your kids that you yourself didn't receive. So you can leave a legacy there. And also, the last I'd say is freedom. You have freedom to do whatever you want because you don't have someone telling you where your money has to go. Your money is able to work for you however you need it to do.
Okay, 30 seconds. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah, there is, actually. I'd say the budgeting takes baby steps. You can't fix years of financial mess overnight. Expect your first budget, again, to be awful. Start tracking your spending. Once you have this info, you can use it to adjust your budget categories. And within 3 months of tracking and spending, you'll be cruising. Remember, a budget isn't this one-time thing that you print and frame and reference. You and your spouse need to have a monthly budget meeting. Make sure you don't leave things out, overcomplicate it, skip the budget or budget meeting, or ignore the budget. It does no good. If you're not using it, make sure that you're working on this with your spouse, or if you're doing this alone, that you have an accountability partner to help you stay on track.
Sounds good. I'm going to do my little part, then if you have anything to add. We're here at the end of our show. That went by way too fast, Tarah. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. I hope in the future you'd be willing to join us again.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe bring a student with you. We always want to keep our promise that Real Estate Jerky gives you something to chew on. I think you got your money's worth today. Next week's show is timely. We'll be talking about the IRS. Just kidding. Well, we're talking about taxes, one of our favorite things out there. So our local CPA, Tom Vermeulen of Vermeulen and Associates. Now, remember, you can get a hold of us anywhere from pound 250 from your cell phone. Erin, you got anything to say?
I just want to say how much fun this has been to work with you and to have all these wonderful people in here to share their experiences with us so that our community can get healthy and we can grow by homeownership.
Erin's license number, by the way, DRE 01491778, and my MLS is 235384. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.